A political earthquake shakes Washington. Happy Friday, everybody. Here we go. President Trump scores major Supreme Court wins, but the spotlight turns to a fiery twist inside the court as one justice delivers a massive blow to another. Meanwhile, the media makes a shocking admission on Trump's tariffs while a new international clash erupts, this time with Canada. Then on Capitol Hill, Republicans make a final push to drive Trump's big, beautiful bill across that finish line. Let's start with what could be the most important judicial ruling in years. The Supreme Court has officially slammed the brakes on activist judges issuing nationwide injunctions, a moment we have all been waiting for, and a tool that has been used repeatedly to stall Trump's policies in their tracks.
Thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people.
President Trump says this is a victory for the Constitution, the people, and common sense, of course. If you agree with that, hit that like button for me, and let's see how much support we can get for our wonderful president. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she was pretty fired up over this decision. Watch.
Americans are finally getting what they voted for. No longer will we have rogue judges striking down President Trump's policies across the entire nation. No longer. Today, in the 6-3 opinion, Justice Barrett correctly holds that the district court lacks authority to enter nationwide or universal injunctions. These lawless injunctions gave relief to everyone in the world instead of the parties before the court.
This did not come out of nowhere. This legal firestorm traces all the way back to none other than Judge James Boasberg. He's the one who famously froze Trump's deportation flights in the beginning. And honestly, he's got a really long track record of ruling against the Trump administration. Boasberg, he's the one that sat on Hillary's emails before the 2016 election. He also approved FISA warrants on the Trump campaign. And fun fact, his daughter built her career advocating against immigration enforcement. Coincidence? I don't think so. And the left is now panicking over the thought of losing the power of judicial overreach.
This is a huge win for the Trump administration because the court has essentially kneecapped lower courts from stopping this administration when it engages in lawless and unconstitutional behavior. And Lisa makes a really important point. This is all happening in an environment where the Trump administration is not only going after undocumented persons and deporting people without the benefit of due process, they're doing so while they are also upending the legal landscape, but making it harder for pro bono outfits to secure the help they need from law firms to bring these suits.
So let's recap this. The left is mad that judges can't block a sitting president from enforcing existing laws. I mean, this isn't about Trump having too much power. It's about the left losing their workaround to power, hence the tantrums we're seeing.
94 districts and 35 out of the 40 opinions with nationwide injunctions came from 5 liberal districts in this country. No longer. No longer. These injunctions have blocked our policies from tariffs to military readiness to immigration to foreign affairs, fraud, abuse, and many other issues. The judges have tried to seize the executive branch's power, and they cannot do that.
Those 5 liberal districts include San Francisco, Oakland, Maryland, Seattle, and Manhattan, New York. The days for judge shopping, they're officially over. Here's Senator John Kennedy, not mincing his words.
The Supreme Court has turned the universal injunctions into fish food, as well it should have. There's no basis in statute. There's no basis in Supreme Court precedent. There's no basis in English common law for universal injunctions. You can tell it from Justice Jackson's dissent. She's mad as a bag of cats, and that's probably a good thing.
Only Senator Kennedy could turn a judicial ruling into a trip to the pet store, and that is why we love him. All right, let's look at more reaction from the left over this ruling.
In a fiery dissent, liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor accusing the majority of shamefully playing along with the Trump administration's gamesmanship. Another scathing dissent from Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, saying the ruling will enable, quote, our collective demise.
And the best part of the day, Justice Barrett, she wasn't having it. She torched Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's dissent with this line, quote, we will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. We observe only this. Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary. So what this essentially means is she's saying that Justice Jackson is worried more about the president having too much power, but seems perfectly comfortable with judges, especially unelected ones, having sweeping power. That pretty much sums up how the left thinks. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree with Amy Coney Barrett's decision to call her out in her dissent? Because I'm personally happy to see a little fire in her belly after a few questionable rulings that had some conservatives really shaking their heads. So let me know down below what you think. Now, one of the hot button issues this ruling touches on is birthright citizenship.
Thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation.
So this issue is interesting because it could lead to a patchwork across states, right? Legal in Massachusetts, but outlawed in Florida. And that kind of chaos, it's usually going to end up right back in the Supreme Court.
This birthright citizenship order that President Trump has issued will be the law in the parts of the country where the courts haven't enjoined it yet under this decision. But the Supreme Court, and in a weird way, this expands the power of the Supreme Court against the lower court judges, because now it means that the Supreme Court has to intervene faster, decide these questions quickly, and not just sit around in the courts below. I tend to think personally that President Trump's going to lose on the birthright citizenship order. He's actually said in previous public statements he's not sure whether it's going to survive. But what it means, at least, is that the policy of the country will be set by an elected president, and then it will be reviewed by the U.S. Supreme Court, the 9 justices, not 600 trial judges.
Now, what's interesting is President Trump has at least 40 injunctions against him right now. So where do those ones go from here? Here's law professor Jonathan Turley explaining.
All of those rulings now have to be re-examined to some extent, and it's going to be more difficult to get new such injunctions. Keep in mind, when a court issues a shot across the bow like this, which is considerable, it tends to speed up matters on the emergency docket as judges ignore these rather clear directions not to issue these national injunctions. The Trump administration is likely to find a more receptive court in quickly reversing those decisions. So I think that the Trump administration has very good reason to celebrate.
Let's turn now to the economy. President Trump's tariffs, they seem to be working, despite what legacy media has been trying to tell you. You know things are going well when CNN has to report the win and is notably shocked by what they're even having to report on. Watch this.
We're on the verge of a major market milestone. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are on track for all-time highs. This would be the first record high for the S&P since
wild,
February.
Considering the drops that you were on just talking about last month.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely unbelievable ride. I've never covered anything quite like this.
Trump's economy is putting the critics on mute, thankfully. I mean, they were so hysterical over Trump's tariffs, and now the president, he's getting the chance to say, I told you so.
A leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked because I've been going through abuse for years on this.
But, Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
I think they should go back to business school. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars from China and a lot of other countries. We took in, I had a call from somebody in the House and a high official. Sir, we have a problem. We don't know what to do. The books are a mess. I said, what do I mean by the books? The books, the money coming in. It's so terrible. I figured, oh boy, what's this? I don't like this question. I said, so what seems? There's so much money coming in, and there must be some kind of an accounting mistake because we have hundreds of billions of dollars more money than we thought. I said, do me a favor, go check call me back. You have to call me back. Check the tariff column. He calls me back 2 hours later, says, you're right. We took in $88 billion in tariffs. They have so much money coming in. But more important than the money coming in, we have companies coming in, factories coming in, auto plants being built. AI is being built here instead of being built all over Europe and Asia. We have all of it.
So just as we were coming to broadcast some breaking news, President Trump just blasted this message on Truth Social. He says, quote, we have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years and on dairy products, has just announced that they are putting a digital services tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this is not the only roadblock that President Trump is facing right now. Federal Reserve and Chair Jerome Powell, he's another one. Trump says Americans are paying hundreds of billions in unnecessary interest payments, and Powell's refusal to cut rates is costing us big time. In fact, Trump says we pay roughly $300 billion for every interest rate point, and the president feels we are roughly 2 points higher than we should be.
So it's 2 points would be about 600, actually more than that, but about $600 billion, all because the guy doesn't want to lower the rates. He's doing the service, a very and then he goes up and talks about, I'd like to see costs come down. You know, he gets up and he does his little thing for 5 minutes, and he goes out and he goes back to the beach. He goes, I'd like to see costs come down. Well, he could lower the interest cost by $900 billion a year. All he has to do is lower rates. And everybody's saying, I was watching some of the business shows today, and they're saying, you know, Trump's right. He should really be cutting. The country's doing well. We have no inflation. Now, despite him, we're doing great. But if we got the rates down, we would be a rocket ship.
Powell isn't just facing pressure from Trump. He's also getting it from lawmakers on Capitol Hill who just publicly grilled him for dragging his feet on the rate cuts. Watch this.
This is car prices since this year. Car prices are down. Car prices are down. Inflation in America is down. We got elected by millions of voters. You got elected by one person. He doesn't want you to be in that job. And you are costing this government $400 billion a year by refusing to lower interest rates. Nobody in this chamber has that kind of power to have a $400 billion impact on this economy.
President Trump has hinted that Powell may be on some borrowed time at this point. I mean, after years of trying diplomacy and, let's just say, a colorful variety of other methods, he now appears open to replacing him.
Now we have a man that just refuses to lower the Fed rate, just refuses to do it. And he's not a smart person. I don't even think he's that political. I think he hates me, but that's okay. You know, he should. He should. I call him every name in the book, trying to get him to do something. I've been nice to him. I do it always. I don't know how to sell. I've been so nice to him, fellas, you wouldn't believe. Let's have dinner. Too late. I'd call him too late. Come on, too late. Let's have dinner. I do it every way in the book. I'm nasty. I'm nice. Nothing works. He's like just a stupid person.
As for the big, beautiful bill, Senator John Kennedy says that he has spoke with Speaker Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Mike Thune and has urged both of them to start the voting process as early as tomorrow.
We have cussed and discussed and rediscussed. We need to start voting. Everybody needs to adult real hard, and the jackassery has to stop. Here's the bottom line. In any legislation of this magnitude, some people are just going to have to settle for a ham and egg sandwich without the ham. That's just the nature of the beast. And I think that if you put everybody to the test and say, look, this is why God made votes, it's time, vote, I think the bill will pass.
While the media is busy playing catch up, Trump's policies, love him or hate him, are starting to look a lot less like a gamble and a lot more like strategy. As the president might say, it's winning time. Again. Up next, details on the investigation that has been launched after an intelligence report was leaked. Plus, I have an update on the socialist candidate who just secured the Democrat nominee for mayor in New York City. That is a wild story rapidly unfolding. And the media will leave you stunned with their bizarre claims over Iran and TDA gang members. You're gonna like this one. It's good. Go ahead, click on that video you see now on your screen, and I'll see you over there.